وجئنا بك شهيدا على هؤلاء ونزلنا عليك الكتاب تبيانا لكل شيء وهدى ورحمة وبشرى للمسلمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. وأوفوا بعهد الله إذا عاهدتم ولا تنقضوا الأيمان بعد توكيدها وقد جعلتم الله عليكم كفيلا. إن الله يعلم ما تفعلون. صدق الله العظيم. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
Please turn off your cell phones. And make sure that during the khutbah we maintain a most of silence, as was said by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that the prayer becomes invalid if we engage in any conversations or any dialogue during the khutbah. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulih al-kareem, khatam al-anbiya wal-mursalin. نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور انفسنا ومن سيئات اعمالنا. من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له. واشهد ان لا اله الا الله واشهد ان محمدا عبده ورسوله ارسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعه. من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فلا يضر الا بنفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. يا أيها الذين آمنوا ادخلوا في السلم كافة ولا تتبعوا خطوات الشيطان إنه It's indeed the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gave us one more week to return to His house, to remind ourselves, Inna hudallahi that the guidance is the guidance that comes only from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As He assured us, وإما يأتينك مني هدى فمن تبع هدايا فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. That you will have nothing to worry and nothing to fear if you follow the guidance. Not if you listen, not if you read, not if you write, not if you memorize. If you follow, you will have nothing to worry and nothing to fear. وإما يأتينك مني هدى فمن تبع هدايا فلا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون. And this is the simplest message that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to humanity through more than 100,000 messengers and prophets who came at different periods of time, reminding humanity, Inna hudallahi huwal huda. That don't follow the guidance that your fellow human beings give. Don't follow the guidance that many other special interest groups give you. Follow the guidance that is given by the one who is the creator of the universe, because he knows the interests of all. He does not discriminate against people on the basis of their race, on the basis of their ethnicity, on the basis of their culture, on the basis of their language, on the basis of their status. He ensures that the interests of all are secure. Only when you will follow his guidance, you will make sure that the interests of all are secure. He kept on sending the message, and people kept on changing it according to their own interests, till the Prophet ﷺ emerged. And he ensured that each and every word that he received from God Almighty is preserved in writing. He's the only messenger in the history of all the messengers who ensured that each and every word that he received from God Almighty is preserved in writing in his lifetime, both in writing and in memory, so that no one could claim that the people or his followers added or deleted anything from that message. And for that reason, he is described as Rahmatullahi, a mercy to the mankind. Otherwise, there was no criterion for humanity to determine what is from God and what is from human beings. Because every religious community claims that it is speaking on behalf of God, but none of them, with the exception of the community of the Prophet ﷺ, can claim that the message was preserved in the lifetime of the person who received that message. And he told us that we should not take life for granted. It's a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And each one of us will be recalled, and a day will come when we will be raised once again to be held accountable for everything that we say and do in this world. And we will be told on that day, "Iqra kitabak, kafa bi nafsika al-yawma alayka hasiba." You were the one who were writing the book of your life. Now read that book, and your destination will be determined on the basis of what you have written and what you have done and what you have said. But he also assured us, "Inna lil muttaqina mafaza," that if we are conscious of the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be successful in this life, in the life hereafter. One of the issues that we often ask of ourselves, that how come we, who claim to be the recipient of the last message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who perhaps form the only community in humanity today, as it was yesterday, that spend millions of hours every day, comprising of 1.7 billion Muslims who submit to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recite his name, pray 5 times a day, give zakat, and on the day of Hajj, Arafah, we assemble in the Hajj, and then pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, yet we are the ones who face persecution in our times more than any other community if we compare the number of dead people, the number of the people who are suffering. But the question must be asked. The question must be asked because what is happening in our world today, that involves persecution against Muslims, that involved attacks against Islam and against those who claim to be part of the community of the Prophet ﷺ have become unbearable to those people who are conscious, and both Muslims and non-Muslims ask why is it happening. And some people give simple answer that because the people are not committed to Islam, hence this is happening. Well, this is happening to those people who are committed to Islam. This is happening to those people who go to the prayers. This is happening to those people who perform Hajj. This is happening to those people who have hijab. This is happening to those people who have beards. This is happening to those people who in their demeanors or who eat halal, who do not do anything that otherwise would appear to be violation of the laws of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in their everyday life. Then why is this happening? Why is this happening? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who gives life, then why is it that the people in Burma or in Palestine or in other places take the life of that individual? Why is this? And it has happened to such an extent that we have become insensitive to what is happening around us. There was a time when even one single life and the loss of one single life would motivate us to stand for justice and the dignity of human life. There was a time when, at the call of people who are persecuted regardless of their religious identity, regardless whether they were Muslims and non-Muslims, regardless whether they rejected Allah or they accepted Allah, regardless whether they were idol worshippers or they were monotheists, whenever we heard that the human life is at stake, and human dignity at stake, we were the first one to stand, responding to the call of the Quran, وَمَا لَكُمْ لَا تُقَاتِلُونَ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالْمُسْتَضْعَفِينَ مِنَ الرِّجَالِ وَالنِّسَاءِ الَّذِينَ يَقُولُونَ رَبَّنَا أَخْرِجْنَا مِنْ هَٰذِهِ الْقَرْيَةِ الظَّالِمِ أَهْلِهَا وَاجْعَلْ لَنَا مِن لَّدُنكَ وَلِيًّا وَاجْعَل لَنَا مِن لَّدُنكَ نَصِيرًا. That the call of the Quran was that how come you do not stand for people, not for Muslims, not for the people of one particular ethnicity or one particular region and one particular place. How come you do not stand for humanity and for those human beings that include men, women, and children who are being persecuted and who have been calling for help and asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send someone who could deliver them out of this persecution and who would stand for them and who would support them. That was the turning point. When we ourselves became a sect, when we ourselves turn Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into a Muslim, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not say that he is Muslim or Christian or Jew. He is all Rabbul Alameen. That was the moment when we turned ourselves into a parochial community, a sectarian community, a community that cries only when someone from its own kind and its own self hears then it cries. And to such an extent that whenever these persecutions took place within specific communities, only when the number of dead people rose quite high and the stench of blood became so unbearable that we put our hands in our pocket and gave some pocket change to those people who were suffering, thinking as if we had fulfilled our responsibility. And again, we were again selective on those. When a certain particular ethnicity suffers, only the members of that ethnic community cries and the others just watch. Depending on what number you have, depending on what place you enjoy, what status you enjoy, it all mattered in that particular sense. So unless we go back to the Quranic call, that the responsibility of those who claim to be the followers of the Prophet ﷺ and the divine message stand truly for justice, for human dignity and for human life, regardless whether it is the life of a non-believer or it is the life of a believer, it is the life of a Muslim, it's the life of a non-Muslim. Things are not going to change. We will continue to suffer. Look what is happening to Rohingyas. On the one hand, it's a Muslim nation, which is, you all know. On the other border, and there is another state where nearly 40% of the citizens are Muslims. And yet, more than 400,000 people are forced to live without food and without water in the forests, dying at a rate of 150 every day, and nearly 15,000 are crossing the borders every day, suffering from all kinds of things. They are the only people in the history of humanity and modern history who were stripped of their citizenship in 1982. Almost 36 years ago, they were deprived of the citizenship, and since then they are living as people without any political identity. They have an identity, which is called Islamic identity, Muslim identity, but who cares about that? There are 56 Muslim countries, and only when the number of dead people rose, then some movement took place, and some people said we will send this millions and that millions of dollars to take care of that, but no one is willing to accommodate them and treat them on the basis of their Islamic identity, human identity. And that is what our dilemma is. That we have turned Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala into a parochial God. We have turned a universal community of Muslims who should have been standing for justice and truth and humanity into a community that is parochial and that is sectarian. And within their own community, we have divided ourselves. We have divided ourselves into groups, into organizations, into ethnicities, into cultures. And only when someone from their own group and their own parties and their own organization and their own ethnicity and community suffer, then we come forward. Depending on our own relationship and our own community, this is not the way our Prophet taught us. This is not the way the Quran taught us. And this is not the way societies change. This is not the way the dignity is maintained. This is not the way the unity and uniformity is maintained within the community. We have to think aloud, and we have to think outside the box in which we have been forced to think for the last several centuries. And we have to take some drastic approach and drastic measures in order to stand for the truth and justice. And we have an opportunity. We have an opportunity in this country, which has become the United Nations of Muslims, because this is perhaps the only place in the world today where Muslims from all ethnicities and all cultures and all experiences and all statuses and all languages are here. And this is an opportunity where they can demonstrate to the world that they care for the humanity and they care for the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the essence in which it was meant to be understood. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salam ala rasulihil kareem khatam al-anbiya wal mursalin inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu تسليما اللهم صل على سيدنا مولانا محمد وعلى ال محمد كما صليت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى ال محمد كما باركت على ابراهيم وعلى ال ابراهيم انك حميد مجيد. It is not that the problems of the world are not being solved. Your problems in Indonesia, and within a couple of years, a new state emerged. And the people who were demanding their dignity were given their dignity. There were problems in Sudan, and a new state emerged. There were problems in South Asia, and new states emerged. But how come for the last 70 years, communities after communities of Muslims have been forced to live in diaspora, have been forced to live in a stateless situation, whether they are Palestinians or they are Rohingyas in the South Asian state of Burma or Myanmar, or there are other persecuted communities in different places of the world. How come their dignity is not secured? And how come the world is not paying attention? Because we stand behind it. Because even with all that is happening in the world, whether about Palestinians or about the Myanmar, Rohingyas, or other places in the world, we still have not learned how to act in a unified manner, to raise our concerns, even to cry together for the plight of the people who are suffering. But we, in this country, especially our young students, who have found a new identity and who are devoting themselves to this understanding of Islam beyond the cultures and beyond traditions and beyond customs, and act in a manner in which the Prophet ﷺ asked us to act. They can go beyond those party lines, they can go beyond those organizational lines, they can go beyond those ethnic lines, linguistic lines, to identify with the true message of Islam. And what did Islam say? What did the Quran say? كان الناس أمة واحدة فبعث الله النبيين مبشرين ومنذرين وأنزل معهم الكتاب بالحق ليحكم بين الناس فيما اختلف. Humanity is fighting. Humanity is divided. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala kept on sending messengers after messengers with the clear guidance and with clear message so that the humanity could find a focus, could come together and stop these kind of differences that have existed, and on the basis of that differences they have been killing each other. On the basis of superiority, I am better than others, my ethnicity is better than others, my language is better than others, my religion, all those kind of differences. And the book clearly mentioned that the superiority does not belong on the basis of any of those things, but the one who is most noble in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who identifies with the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala of equality, of human dignity, of the oneness of humanity. And it is this message that Islam has always stood. It's this message that we distorted. It is this message that we radicalized. Go back to the Quran and find that out. And that is why the Quran is there in its essential original form. So that anytime we have any confusion, we have any other ideas contaminating us, we go back to the Quran to verify whether what was said by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is exactly what is being reported to us, or someone is trying to add their own agenda into the Quran. And you will find many times Quranic agenda has been contaminated, has been changed, has been manipulated on the basis of political, economic, and social interests of those who claim that they will follow Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is a time to go back to that message and to understand that message. It is a time to realize that we truly stand for those things. And the moment we do that, it does not matter whether we are 1 or we are 1 billion. What it matters is that we are on the path of the truth, and we stand for the truth in the essential sense of the term, And then the nusra of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that whenever the truth is revealed, that whenever the truth will come, batil is always. So let's pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He will just live in a manner we follow the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we follow the teachings of the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we live the life that was given to us in the Quran and in the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. رب اغفر وارحم وأنت خير الراحمين. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون ولذكر الله تعالى أعلى وأولى وأهم وأتم وأكبر. أقم الصلاة إن الصلاة
الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله.
Making your lines, please, and shoulder with shoulder. Allahu Akbar. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. إن الذين قالوا ربنا الله ثم استقاموا تتنزل عليهم الملائكة ألا تخافوا ولا تحزنوا وابشروا بالجنة التي كنتم توعدون. نحن أولياؤكم في الحياة الدنيا وفي الآخرة ولكم فيها ما تشتهي أنفسكم ولكم فيها ما تدعون نزلا من غفور رحيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا ومن أحسن قولا ممن من دعا إلى الله وعمل صالحا وقال إنني من المسلمين ولا تستوي الحسنة ولا السيئة ادفع بالتي هي أحسن فإذا الذي بينك وبينه عداوة كأنه ولي حميم وما يلقاها إلا الذين صبروا وما يلقاها إلا ذو حظ عظيم وإما ينزغنك من الشيطان نزغ فاستعذ بالله إنه هو السميع العليم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today's Khatib, Dr. Aslam Abdulla. He will be joining us tonight on Family Night, inshallah, so we hope to see you there. Inshallah, September 22nd, we'll be having Friday night for the Hajjis, so we'll welcome them back, inshallah. On September 16th, we have the Eid picnic with ICSB and the Islamic Center of Hawthorne at Lomita Park from noon to 6 p.m. So please bring your families and join us. Please pray for the people in Burma and for the people of Myanmar and people around the world. Please keep the people in Florida in your dua, and if anyone would like to donate to any of these countries, please let us know, and inshallah we can help you out. Please visit the welcome booth outside if you want to sign up your email, get updates about the masjid. You can sign it up in the back at the welcome booth. They have more information. Women's group is every Fridays from 11:30 to 1. So if you'd like to learn for the women, please join it. It will be here at Islamic Center South Bay. Please register your children and yourselves in the Quran class with Sheikh Anas and his father, inshallah. The weekend Islamic school starts tomorrow, so if you haven't registered your kid, you probably want to bring them in tomorrow, inshallah. Please don't forget to donate to the general fund of this masjid, and especially to the new building. We want to get it done, inshallah, and make dua for those who are sick. A young man is going through treatment. They're asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they're asking you guys to make dua for him, inshallah. And brother Noor Ilahi Paracha died away in Pakistan. Please keep him in your dua. Please keep all those who have passed away in your dua.
الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين. اللهم انصر الإسلام في كل مكان. اللهم ارحم المستضعفين في كل مكان. اللهم كن لأهل المستضعفين المسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر أهل المظلومين في كل مكان. اللهم أهلك الظالمين للظالمين وأخرج المظلومين من بين أيديهم سالمين ظالمين. اللهم استغفرنا وحسنا وضعفنا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا. اللهم ارحم موتانا وعافنا وكلانا. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا وعافنا وكلانا. اللهم يسر امورنا. اجعل لنا من كل عسر يسرا ومن كل فرجا ومن كل ضيق مخرجا واصبر علينا ذنوبنا الدنيا والآخرة ولا تنسى خلقك ولا يعاد عليك وارزقنا الإخلاص في أقوالنا وأعمالنا اللهم اجعلنا من المخلصين ومن عبادك المتقين ومن أوليائك الصالحين صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه
New baby. How's he getting a baby? Supposed to be